Hi all, welcome to another session on UPSC Answer Writing Initiative. And the topic for today was economics from GS3. Again, if you have written the answers, please get it evaluated on the platform of CollectorBabu. Let us not waste much of our time and start discussing the answers. So, the first topic is on the first question is on the topic of unemployment, especially how unemployment is measured in India, the methodology relating to it. So let us read the question and try to brainstorm what we'll be answering in this question. So, as the question says, most of the unemployment in India is structural in nature. Examine the methodology adopted to compute unemployment in the country and suggest improvements. So, you have to talk about that, yes, that there is this structural unemployment in India. You have to talk about this aspect, and then you will actually talk about the methodology that are being used. Okay. And then you will suggest some of the improvements in the way unemployment is being measured. Okay. There are a few ways how you can actually start answering this question. First would be to give an introduction of the definition of what structural unemployment is. And then you can give examples for it. Okay. Here you'll talk about that unemployment in India is largely structural. That is the unemployment, the type which arises due to shifts in economy, infrastructure bottleneck, and inadequate capital formation and high population growth, which means the type of unemployment which is because of the structure of economy itself. Then you have to talk about how the transition from an agrarian to service-based economy has led to challenges such as seasonal, disguised, and underemployment, which will all come in the structural unemployment part. These structural issues often are not adequately captured by the existing unemployment methodology, because that is the crux of the question, that the unemployment methodology have not been able to capture the structural unemployment issue. And then what are the unemployment related measures? Then first is by periodic labor force survey, which is conducted by the National Statistical Office, which is the primary source of data, unemployment data in India. Then there are other, which is done by private organizations like CMIE. They also engage in capturing all the economic trends, including unemployment data. Then you'll talk about the two key measures that are used in unemployment related measure methodology. The first is using the usual principal and subsidiary status. You might not be able to remember these facts, but again, you generally do study such trends and such important facts for your prelims examination. So again, we have been noticing the trend that some factual and prelims based factual questions are asked in the mains itself. So don't forget your prelims knowledge. And then first would be that which captures the long-term trend. And then the second one is the current weekly status, which measures the short-term employment trend, which based on the activity of the last 7 days. But you have to talk about the challenges. And the challenges are that there are limitations to accurately capture the structural issues in unemployment. First would be the issue with current employment measurement methodology. First being that this underestimation of unemployment, okay? The traditional definition is exclude those not actively seeking work due to social norms. For example, patriarchy restricting women's workforce participation, where due to social norms, people are not allowed or they don't even actively seek work, then the unemployment trends do not capture it. Then the unpaid care work is not given recognition in unemployment trend. And again, that there is this trend that that there's the seasonal labor market where workers do not search for job year round, but they are available when the opportunities arise. So this might lead to gross underestimation or overestimation of unemployment data. Then there's this limitation of the usual principal and subsidiary status. That is the short-term employment fluctuation, particularly because of seasonal unemployment. And then again, you can talk about cyclical unemployment, which is due to temporary economic fluctuations. That is the boom and the bust. Okay. And there might be some recall errors occur as respondents try to recall their unemployment details for an entire year, which is difficult, especially in informal jobs. Okay. Then you have to talk about the limitation of current weekly status, that it might either lead to overestimation or underestimation. And then it does not take into account disguised unemployment and underemployment, especially in agriculture. Then disguised and regional employment. The existing surveys fail to measure the disguised unemployment where workers are engaged in more workers are engaged, which is the literal definition of disguised unemployment, where marginal productivity is less than 1. And then you have to talk about regional variations are not well captured. For example, the unemployment data is a rural issue in some state and an urban challenge in some other. So the regional variation is not adequately captured in the estimation and the methodology for unemployment. And there are some reforms which are suggested. First would be that you need to redefine labor force and worker category. And one such step would be to include individuals engaging in caregiving activities. And then recognize that those not actively seeking work due to social and economic strata barriers, but there might be some who would like to take up employment if available. And then you have to talk about how the survey should be conducted multiple times a year, and such seasonal variation should be captured, and again to increase the sample size, which would reflect better the data, which accurately captures the ground level reality. And then you can talk about revising the current weekly status. For example, the current weekly status with modified current weekly status, which considers only those engaged in labor force for a major part of the week, which would avoid overestimation. Then there might be some other suggestions which you can give. In the end, you can just conclude that by adopting such methodologies, policymakers can design targeted interventions to enhance employment generation and ensure inclusive economic growth. That's it. And we should come to the second question, which is relating to land reforms. In the land reforms question, what you can do is make a map of India and give mark certain regions where and how land reforms were successful and why land reforms were unsuccessful. For example, in the successful part, you can give example of Kerala and West Bengal. In the unsuccessful, you can give examples like Bihar, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, etc. Okay. So, Indian agriculture, let's read the question. How did land reforms in some parts of the country help to improve the socio-economic conditions of marginal and small farmers? So basically it is asking that yes, land reform did occur and it helped improve the socio-economic status. You have to bring about the successful aspect of the land reforms, particularly relating to small and marginal farmers. Okay, so you will begin by writing Indian agriculture is dominated by small and marginal farmers who constitute 86% of the farmers, but only 48% of agricultural land. These farmers often face challenges due to fragmented landholding, low productivity, and lack of access to institutional support. Land reforms have played a crucial role. So, this sets the context of your question. Now, you will talk about the successful aspect. Like it was successful in Kerala and Bengal. So, what were the successful aspect? First being that it led to abolition of intermediaries. Okay. And then we'll talk about Land Ceiling Act and redistribution. Movements like Bhudan and Gramdan helped redistribute excess land among the landless, promoted equity in land ownership, and reduced disparities. Okay. Then you will talk about tenancy reforms, which were undertaken in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, among others, which led to land consolidation, higher occupational mobility, and enhanced agricultural productivity. Done. Now, you will be talking about the promotion of cooperative farming. Initiatives like Kudumbashri, Kerala, and Andhra Pradesh Mahila Samath Society encouraged cooperative farming. Okay, which helped to which helped farmer to reap the benefit of economies of scale and also improved market access. Then we talk about the modernization of land records, which again was part of the land reform itself, but not the land reform just initiated after the independence, but the land reforms of the 90s and the land reform which is taking place now, which we can which can be exemplified by Swamitwa scheme. Okay. And then you will talk about challenges. First would be that there were a lot of benami transaction, okay, and loopholes in the Land Sealing Act. Again, the lawmaker themselves had the vested interest in not letting the land reforms take place, and a lot of litigation was, and a lot of litigation took place, and court cases as well. So, which led to slow digitization of land records, which is still being undertaken. A lot of land related disputes, etc., etc., etc. It led to land fragmentation because the land got divided among successors. So to further improve the condition, what we need to focus is on land reforms 2.0, which includes the transfer of surplus government land to the landless and legalizing land leasing to improve land use efficiency, and also to organize farmers into FPOs for better bargaining power and market access. By addressing these challenges and advancing reforms, India can ensure inclusive growth and rural prosperity. So, we are done, right? And let's move on to the third question, which is relating to renewable energy and how India will be able to achieve 50% of its energy need from renewable energy, which again is one of the target of Panchamrit target, which is a target of nationally determined contribution of the Paris Agreement. So you can use these two arguments to open your question, open your answer in your introduction, or you can give some data like what is India's rank in renewable energy or in wind energy or solar energy. Okay, either of the two way you can introduce your answer. Now it straight away asks what what are the challenges that India will face in achieving the 50% energy target from renewable energy. So you have to bring out some of the challenges, like common challenges for both wind, solar, hydro, etc. would be that there's this intermittency change, like intermittency, and then there's this variability in the renewable power generation. For example, the grid integration becomes difficult due to fluctuations in solar and wind energy because of intermittency. And then there's the inadequate power storage infrastructure. Energy storage solutions such as battery storage and pumped hydro storage are underdeveloped. Then you have to talk about location specific potential. Like renewable energy rich regions like Ladakh require efficient power evaluation infrastructure. Okay. Then you will talk about the reverse auction model. Then, like the shift from feed-in tariffs to reverse auctions has made project financially unviable for developers. These are some of the common challenges: financial constraints, land availability. For solar, again, there's this high customs duty because for the solar photovoltaic cells, we are dependent on China. And there's this supply chain disruption, high import dependency. And again, there's this very limited solar rooftop expansion. Okay. For wind energy, there are challenges like slowdown in wind energy addition, underutilization of the potential states. For example, in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, they have significant wind energy potential, but it has limitedly being harnessed. Then very limited focus on offshore wind energy, which again is need of the time so as to ensure that land space is not taken up. Also, the second part of the question specifically asks you to talk about the role of subsidy shifts from fossil fuel to renewables. Okay. So, what would be the benefits? The benefits would be that it would attract private investment where in the renewable section, which would help improve the financial viability of the renewable energy projects. And then what? It would lead to boosting of the power storage infrastructure. Okay? Investment in battery storage and smart grids might help mitigate the intermittency of renewables. Again, it would encourage the domestic manufacturers take up investment in solar modules, which will help reduce the import dependency. Then we'll talk about it would usher in optimal utilization of resources. And at last, you can just talk about how it would enhance research and development, right? So, with sustained efforts, India can emerge as a global leader in renewable energy, aligning with its commitments under the Paris Agreement and its vision as a sustainable future. So, this is how you can just conclude, or you can just exhort some of Prime Minister's commitment for renewable energy. That is also one of the way to conclude your answer. So, please fill your prelims forms and start preparing for prelims now. Maybe you can give maybe 1 or 2 more days for mains preparation, and then just buckle up. All the best. This initiative will come to an end soon. And if you guys have any more feedback to give, please feel free to comment down below. Bye bye. Take care.